Hello everybody, welcome back to the next part of Syberia. Your real-life Syberia fact for today is Syberia could actually mean sleeping land. Possible meaning for the word. In the last video we got a call from the professor and he wanted us to come sit in on his lecture about his studies that he performed on the mammoth toy that we brought him. So we're going to go back up here and go check that out.
Ah, there you are, Miss Walker. Good, good. Take a seat quickly. I'm impatient to start my lesson. My young friends, a very exciting discovery, unimaginable up until only a few hours ago, has come into my hands and has finally allowed me to complete my study on the mysterious Yukol people. Lights, please. The Yukols are a people from the far north about whom very little is known. They live far away, very far away, on the frozen borders of Syberia. This distance and the climatic conditions of the region, which are unfavorable to human existence, have limited the size of the Yukol population and kept it out of reach of the scientific world. The handful of slides that follow are actually the only documentation we have in our possession. It was a Russian explorer who made these drawings and took these photographs 100 or so years ago. Today, we owe what we know about the Yukol people and their culture to him. We know that the origins of the Yukols date back to the last ice age. Curiously, evidence of their presence has been found in Western Europe, and more precisely in the prehistoric caves at the heart of the Alps. This people, it seems, undertook a long migration over centuries towards the far north of the globe. The reasons for this migration are due to the importance of the mammoth in their craft, trade, and culture. They used them for transportation and as beasts of burden. The mammoth brought them meat, skins, fat, and ivory. Man and animal lived in symbiosis. There's no doubt about it. Mammoths started to drift away from the region due to changing climatic conditions, and the Yukols followed them to the north, to the edges of Syberia. Prehistoric cave drawings, identified as Yukol in origin, first led me to the extraordinary hypothesis that the Yukols had managed to domesticate the mammoth. They are, to the best of our knowledge, the only prehistoric people to represent a man riding a mammoth. Today, because of this genuine mammoth skin effigy, identified by myself as an authentic Neolithic object, I can confirm this hypothesis. Yukol forebears managed to tame mammoths. Prehistoric man uses little imagination. He draws what he sees and represents scenes from real life. This familiar day-to-day object is actually a children's toy. As we have seen, Yukol existence was inextricably linked to that of the mammoth. They used its skin for clothing and to make the roofs and walls of their houses. They used the tusks to build the frameworks of their homes, as well as weapons, tools, and jewelry. Curiously, the disappearance of the mammoth 12,000 years ago had no immediate effect on the Yukol's way of life. It seemed that for a long time after, the people maintained their strong bond with the mammoth through the centuries. As incredible as it may seem, the Yukol people have continued right up until the start of this century to feed themselves on mammoth meat and to use the skin for clothing and shelter. Their ivory craftwork industry is still flourishing. It would appear that to preserve ancestral customs, the Yukols learned how to exploit through the centuries the large number of frozen mammoth carcasses that were perfectly preserved in the ice of the Siberian tundra. They have been able to live mainly off this enormous freezer stock for almost 30 centuries. As plausible as this explanation may seem, It seems it is not enough for the scientific community, who, I will confess, is greatly perplexed by the question. In the absence of acceptable scientific evidence, we have to make do with Yukon shaman artifacts. The research department that I have the honor to represent today lends no credence to the myths and legends that these tribal charlatans peddle. We have to take their stories at face value, mere tales to while away the long Siberian winter. The legend of the Siberian ice ark is a very good example. You are invited to find out for yourselves from the pamphlet that I had passed around to you. This legend would have us believe that today, somewhere on a lost island to the north of Syberia, there are living mammoths still in existence, a sort of hangover from the Ice Age. This small herd has been miraculously preserved for more than 120 centuries by the Yukol's tender care. And the island on which the pachyderms are said to live is called Syberia. My friends, I advise you to resist the temptation you may have to believe in this pish and tish. The island of Syberia is not charted on any map, and the idea that mammoths have survived to the 21st century is an idle scientist's pipe dream. The Yukols were sadly among the first victims of the colonization of continental Siberia led by the Russians in the 20th century. The Kolkhoz and Sovkhoz systems, as well as the exploitation, disdain, and humiliation the people had to suffer, marked a definitive break in the Yukol's traditional lifestyle. And since the collapse of the communist regime, the Yukol population finds itself confronted with the same political and social upheavals that other Siberian communities are experiencing. There are two consequences to arise from this. Some Yukols have lost their tribal identity and have integrated into the Russian population. Others, however, have sought long and hard to re-establish links with their ancestral culture that was lost under the Soviet regime. Now, at the start of the 21st century, the last true surviving Yukols have gone to live on the vast territories of their ancestors. Nobody knows today where they live or how they survive. Their very existence would be a matter for speculation if they did not turn up periodically at the tundra's most isolated fur trading posts to exchange mammoth tusks for essential items. There ends my lecture for today. Thank you for being among us today, Miss Walker. Please make your way to the laboratory where you will find your mammoth doll. There are also photocopies of my lectures should you so require them.
Okay. Interesting information. It's weird, even in that text, what he was speaking, he kept interchanging the spelling of Syberia, S-Y or S-I, which is a little confusing. Because the only thing spelled S-Y-B-E-R-I-A is this game. And another interesting fact, too, is the modern day elephants that still exist. They're closer related to the Asian mammoths, or excuse me, the modern day elephants are in Africa. There's African elephants and there's Asian elephants, but the Asian elephants are more closely related to mammoths, simply because Siberia is right on the edge of Asia. So, can we go down here? There's nothing down here though. Okay, so we gotta go back to his laboratory. I wonder if we can go this way. They went this way. It's probably locked.
No point. It's locked.
Okay, so we can pick up the mammoth. We can pick up a copy of his lecture. Guess we can read it. The Legend of the Ivory Ark. The last ice age ended with the planet warmed up. This sudden climate change threatened the existence of many animal species, including mammoths inhabiting the far northern Syberia wastes. It is said that the Yokol people decided to follow Noah's example and built an enormous ark to try to preserve the mammoth's existence. They lived in symbiosis with the pachyderm, which was at the heart of their religious worship. The ship was constructed entirely from mammoth tusks. A small herd of mammoths was installed on board with enormous quantities of fodder. Control of the ship was entrusted to a handful of particularly intrepid Yokol clans. Their mission was to take the animals to other lands with pastures more befitting to their survival. One day, 50 summers later, as legend would have it, the ark returned to its starting point. The yokels were astonished to find nobody aboard apart from the carcasses of several mammoths, perfectly preserved in the ice encasing the ship. The clansmen believed this was a mysterious sign from the gods, and they ate the mammoths in a memorable feast. 1 week later, the ark set sail once more, carried away by the currents. Again, it returned half a century later, with not a soul on board except more well-preserved frozen mammoth carcasses. The mystery continued for a millennia, each time the surprisingly well-preserved mammoths appearing out of nowhere. The Yukols interpreted the phenomenon as a benevolent offering from their dead companions who were believed to have perished on the ark's first voyage in some horrendous maritime cataclysm. That was a super long sentence. It was believed that their souls had found eternal rest on a mythical island that the shaman named Syberia. Okay. They constructed a whole religion around the belief, with rites and customs punctuated by the periodic appearances of the phantom ship and its precious cargo. For centuries, nothing changed the ark's mysterious cycle. Only the size of the mammoths changed, reducing impeccably over time. Until one day, 100 or so years ago, the ark returned earlier than expected. It was empty. The yokels were dumbfounded and utterly confused. The spirits of their ancestors had forsaken them. Everything they had believed in, that had been the bedrock of their culture since the very depths of time, and had now lost all meaning. The most fanatical believers noted the frequency of appearances had in fact increased, and maintained that there was still hope as long as the ark continued its return journey from the unknown. Some elder Yukols boasted having seen it several times, but thenceforth each time the white ship returned, it only offered an empty shell to the despairing eyes of the surviving Yukols. The belief became superstition, and the reality became legend. Interesting. A shaman named Syberia with a Y. Let's get our mammoth back. Let's talk to him one last time.
What is it you want to know, miss?
I would have loved to study at a
No age is too old.
Maybe, but
You prefer
I have.
every...
Well, nothing.
I'll leave you in peace. I hope I haven't disturbed you too much.
Sorry? No, not at all, my dear child.
Okay, we've exhausted all the dialogue with him, so he's got nothing new. There's no point in talking to the rectors again. We're basically done here. We can go back to the train and see what Oscar's up to. So yeah, I think I've already mentioned Syberia 1 and 2 were supposed to be a single game, but it was so large that they, in the end, decided to split it into 2 games. Nothing else to say to him. The third game came out sometime later, like years and years and years later. But, that game, I remember not having... I don't remember any particular details on it. It was pretty forgettable, I guess. I remember the controls being kind of janky, the story not being very good, or not as good as... Well, they won't even let us keep going that way. Not as good as the first 2. Obviously, it had better graphics. Maybe not better art design in those graphics, but better graphics just because it being a newer game. But I definitely will play it on this channel again. I'd like to experience it again and give it another chance. And the 4th game I haven't played yet. But I've heard good things, and it looks really, really, really nice graphically. I'm not sure even of the story. I mean, it's hard to not see screenshots and stuff of a new game, but I haven't watched any gameplay. I haven't read anything about it. Just from what I've seen, it looks like Kate Walker's definitely in it, so it continues her story. But there's another girl that is also in it, and I don't know, like, if it's like whatever period that game is going to be set in. There's like 2. It looks like a modern day, and then like a past or a future. And one of those time frames, there includes a different woman, and I don't know if it's supposed to be like... She doesn't look like Kate, so it's supposed to be like Kate from another time in the past or the future, or like a reincarnation of her, or maybe a relative in the past or the future. So I think you're going to go back and forth between 2 characters, which I wouldn't have preferred, but I think that's how it's going to be. Okay, let's go check on Oscar. That was a little odd. I was expecting her to come from this side, not that side. Let's see what he's up to.
Everything okay?
Yes, Kate Walker. I am waiting to continue our journey.
Okay. So usually I just go down the whole list of them again, like every time, just about. Because something might change. And if I recognize that we've heard it before, then I'll just skip it and go to the next.
You know, I think I would have liked being a student at this university. Everything's just so different here. Yorkshire does feel like another planet.
The planet New York? Is that our next stop?
Not exactly, Oscar. But I don't think you'd like it there. It doesn't run like clockwork.
See, that changed. Simply because we got through with the university stuff. And yeah, I think it's been said before that Kate is from America, the state of New York.
Oscar, get ready. I'm going to start winding up the clockwork engine.
Good, Kate Walker. Then we can carry on our journey. An engineer prides himself
On punctuality. I know, Oscar, I know. Oscar, couldn't you just try giving me a hand winding the train back up again?
My incompetence in this matter will only hinder you, Kate Walker.
Always thinking of others, Oscar. This guy Hans. Bit simple, but he's obviously a genius. And then there are the mammoths. Funny guy, don't you reckon?
I'll have you know Hans Vorarlberg is my creator, Kate Walker.
Speaking of mechanical problems, there aren't any other hitches I should know about, Oscar?
This train has no mechanical problems, Kate Walker. Winding the spring mechanism is standard service procedure.
Okay, Oscar, don't get all touchy about it. I didn't mean it like that.
Still a mechanical problem.
Everybody seems to like the Sauvignon grape here. People and birds. Especially these accursed Amazon cuckoos.
It is regrettable that my constitution does not enable me to ingurgitate this product.
That's everybody excluding Oscar. I'm off, Oscar. See you later.
Yes, Kate Walker.
Alright, so we have the mammoth toy doll, wine bottle that the station master gave us, and then the Yangal cola powder, which is a ground up mushroom from the Amazon, and when ingested it gives you better vision, letting you see farther. So hunters used it. I actually don't remember where we picked this up at. Yeah, I can't remember. Let's go put the mammoth back where it belongs. I don't know, maybe I should have played Amazon first. We'll definitely play it. But I think I'll probably end up playing through the entire Syberia series first before I go back to it, since I've already started the Syberia series. Alright, let's make another save. So we gotta wind the train and we gotta get this gate opened. There's a wall over here that's closed. Pull the lever first. Pull it again now, I think. Kind of weird how that works, but
Hello?
Where are you?
Hi, Dan. I'm in Barrickstadt.
What? Is that a town? I hope the man you're looking for lives there. Are you coming home soon?
From what I gather, it's one huge university with an extraordinary station aviary. If you could only see it, there are trees and birds everywhere. It's so weird here.
Sounds like a great place for a bit of sightseeing. So, are you coming back soon?
I don't think so. In fact, the train I'm traveling on has some kind of a mechanical problem. We've been forced to stop here.
Us? I thought you were alone. Who's with you?
Oscar, the train engineer.
You're messing around with mechanics now, are you?
Don't be so stupid, Dan, please. Oscar is an automaton created by Mr. Varlberg, the man I'm looking for. And he's not any old robot. He's a sophisticated butler type, if you see what I mean. He's a bit obsessive as well.
Kate, I don't know what they're feeding you in Europe, but don't you think it's time that you came home?
But my mission still isn't finished.
To hell with your mission. I don't know why you accepted it in the first place. If you just stuck to the middle of the road, then we wouldn't be in this mess.
We? If there's any mess, it's me who's in it. And while I'm trying to come to grips with strange towns, you, my darling, are sitting at home on your butt. I seem to remember we had nothing against my departure.
It was only going to be 2 or 3 days, Kate. Please, try to put yourself in my shoes.
Your shoes. Not only do I have to fit myself into your diary, but I've got to get myself into your shoes as well? Is there anywhere else Sir would like me to put myself while we're on this subject?
Look, I don't want to talk about it now. Call me back when you calm down.
I was perfectly calm before I picked up your call. I only wanted a few words of encouragement, not your disdain. Was that too much to ask?
You can be such a selfish...
Takes one to know one, sweetheart.
Oh, I need you to come home and comb my hair and do my laundry. Oh. Okay, we can't go any further. That's all we needed to do. Let's go see what Oscar has to say now.
Everything okay?
Yes, Kate Walker. I am waiting to continue our journey.
Train.
Speaking of mechanical problems, there aren't any other...
This train has no...
Okay.
Nothing mission?
Oscar, if you tell me one more time something's missing, I'll...
Everything is ready. Take your seat, Kate Walker. We are leaving.
Okay.
Well, he's gonna pull up closer to the wall, I guess. Because we wound it. We needed to do this regardless, but it's not really gonna, you know, help us get through the wall that's obviously still there. There's a little building up here on the left, if you remember. Let's put this to that location so we can get to it. There you can see it. He's not going to come back in here, I don't guess. Just go this way. Okay, I wanted to go the other way. This just allows us to go back down the path or up here, but we can't really go up here anyway. Okay. It's hard to tell, but from this angle, but from on the other angle over there, I noticed that these up here were tiger heads. Probably were Siberian tiger heads. Alright guys, we're going to stop this video here. Finally got ourselves up here to this wall. And in the next video we'll go and check out this building and see what's going on over there. So thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.